Good evening. This is Jamila Iligbede. Reading with me is
Adetoke Oluyole.
Bringing you Newscope, our daily news program of in-depth reports, interviews and commentaries. First, the highlights. President Tinubu approves road project in 15 states.
Federal government seeks compensation for South Africa returnees.
Odua Investment names new chairman.
13 killed in Accra floods.
Now the details. President Tinubu has approved 27 road projects valued at over 3.9 trillion naira across 15 states as part of the federal government's drive to improve road infrastructure nationwide. The Minister of Works, David Umahi, disclosed this while briefing journalists after the Federal Executive Council meeting, which was held at the Presidential Villa, Abuja. According to the minister, the approved projects span Adamawa, Benue, Cross River, Ebonyi, Ekiti, Kogi, Kwara, Lagos, Niger, Ondo, Osun, Oyo, Plateau, Taraba, and Yobe states. Umahi said the council approved the re-award of the 409-kilometer dual carriageway project in Niger State under the tax credit scheme to businessman Aliko Dangote at a cost of 1.8 trillion naira. The minister stated that other approvals include 86 billion naira each for the reconstruction of the Enugu-Abakaliki road with a flyover and the Adikwo-Ajayi-Tese-Akpa-Otukpo road traversing Benue and Cross River states.
The Federal Executive Council has approved maritime infrastructure and safety projects worth about 286 billion naira, aimed at modernizing the country's ports, improving navigational safety, and unlocking the economic potential of the sector. The approvals granted at the FEC meeting chaired by President Bola Tinubu at the Presidential Villa, Abuja, cover the procurement of maritime pollution control vessels, pilot cutter boats, firefighting vessels, and the capital and maintenance dredging of the Escravos Channel. Bremen State House correspondents after the meeting, the Minister of Marine and Blue Economy, Adeboyega Oyetola, who was represented by the Minister of Environment, Balarabe Abbas Lawal, said the projects formed part of the federal government's strategy to improve port efficiency, strengthen navigational safety, and align Nigeria's maritime infrastructure with international standards. According to him, the council approved the procurement of 2 state-of-the-art marine pollution control vessels valued at about 59.05 billion naira to combat plastic pollution, oil spills, and other marine waste across Nigeria's territorial waters, creeks, and inland waterways. He said the vessels will enhance environmental protection efforts while improving navigational safety within the country's maritime domain.
The federal government has said it will engage the South African government to seek compensation for Nigerians who were forced to abandon businesses and other valuable properties as they return home following renewed anti-immigrant tensions in the country. Acting Nigerian High Commissioner to South Africa, Alexander Ajayi, disclosed today during an appearance on a television program. Ajayi explained that the government had already begun compiling records of businesses and properties left behind by returnees, adding that the information will form the basis of discussions with the South African authorities on possible compensation. The acting High Commissioner also dismissed claims that the majority of Nigerians living in South Africa are undocumented, insisting that most enter the country through legal immigration channels. According to him, delays in the processing of immigration documents by South Africa's Home Office have left many foreign nationals stranded despite having initially migrated legally.
Meanwhile, another batch of 271 Nigerians evacuated from South Africa arrived in Lagos today under the federal government's voluntary repatriation program. The flights landed at the Murtala Mohammed International Airport shortly before 11 a.m. after departing Johannesburg at about 5 a.m. local time. Officials of the National Emergency Management Agency, the Nigerian Immigration Service, and Nigerians in Diaspora Commission received the returnees on arrival. The latest evacuation is part of the federal government's ongoing efforts to assist Nigerians who have opted to return home amid rising anti-immigration tensions in South Africa. The repatriation comes ahead of June 30 deadline reportedly issued by the vigilante groups and other organizations calling for undocumented migrants to leave the country.
In another development, the federal government has vowed to launch a formal diplomatic challenge against the Ivorian authorities following the tragic death of a Nigerian citizen, Osama Murtala, who died in an Abidjan hospital just hours after being released from a year-long detention without trial. Minister of State for Foreign Affairs Bianca Odumegwu-Ojukwu disclosed this in a statement posted on our official X handle. According to the minister, 6 young men who traveled from Sokoto to Abidjan for phone parts business were arrested under what she described as suspicious circumstances and detained at Maka prison without being charged or tried. She said the ministry also became aware of their plight in April 2026. I was surprised to discover that the Nigerian embassy in Abidjan had not been notified on their arrest by the Ivorian authorities. Odumegwu-Ojukwu explained that the detainees were held in difficult conditions, with one of them, Osama Murtala, falling seriously ill while in custody. The minister, however, said the development ended in tragedy for Murtala, whose health had deteriorated significantly before his release. The minister said the 5 surviving Nigerians, Aliyu Malami, Nasiru Umar, Samsu Abubakar, Saidu Bello, and Liman Mohammed, were being brought back to Nigeria.
The Odua Investment Company Limited, owned by 6 southwest states, have witnessed another change in face in its leadership structure. This is just as the chairman of the Odua Group, Otumba Bimbo Ashiru, handed over the mantle of leadership to a new chairman, Dr. Tola Kasali from Lagos State. The change of leadership was during the 44th annual general meeting of the Odua conglomerate held at the remodeled Premier Hotel, Mokola, Ibadan. The former chairman, Otumba Bimbo Ashiru, while giving the financial reports of the year 2025, said the board presented a record-breaking financial performance for the year. It ended 31st December 2025, cementing the group's place as a true powerhouse of regional economic development. Representative of Oyo State on the Odua board, Barrister Sheni Adio, representative of the Ogun, Osun, Ekiti, Ondo, and Lagos State governors, represented by their secretaries to the state governors, commended the Odua group for this great achievement, especially under the leadership of Otumba Bimbo Ashiru. Incoming chairman of the Odua Group, Dr. Tola Kasali, in his remarks said he will ensure that he consolidates on the achievements of the erstwhile chairman.
The Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, says over 1.5 billion Nigerians have successfully completed their voter registration as of the 26th June. This is at the conclusion of Week 7 in the Phase 3 of its continuous voter registration CVR exercise. According to statistics released by INEC today in Abuja, the figure comprises 620,933 citizens who completed their online pre-registration and 944,940 who registered physically. The Commission, however, said that the statistics remained preliminary, pending a comprehensive data cleanup during the scheduled period for public claims and objections, which will be followed by the deployment of the automated biometric identification system, ABIS. INEC urged eligible citizens who were yet to register to utilize its online portal or visit designated physical CVR registration centers nationwide to ensure their votes count in the upcoming elections.
A federal high court in Abuja today admitted activist and former presidential candidate Oluyole to fresh bail in the sum of 200 million naira, weeks after revoking his earlier bail over his failure to appear for trial. Justice Muhammad Umar, in a ruling, directed Sowore to provide 2 sureties before the bail could take effect. One of the sureties must be a traditional ruler from his community, while the second must own landed property within the Federal Capital Territory. The judge also ordered the defendant to deposit his international passport with the court registrar pending the determination of the case. After granting the application, Justice Umar handed Sowore over to his lawyers and adjourned further proceeding until Monday, July 6th, when the defendant is expected to open his defense.
6 victims abducted by bandits in Katsina State have regained their freedom after troops of the 17th Brigade Nigerian Army rescued them during a routine patrol in Faskari local government area of the state. The victims, comprising 4 women and 2 boys, were intercepted by troops deployed at Unguwan Doka on Monday, 29th June 2026, while wandering through the bush after escaping from their captors. According to a statement made available to newsmen today by the Acting Assistant Director, Army Public Relations, 17th Brigade, Captain Abayomi Adisa, the rescued victims were identified as Mrs. Umeima Isiaku, Amina Isiaku, Safiya Isiaku, Ramatu Suleiman, Mohammed Shehu, and Ibrahim Suleiman. The army disclosed that preliminary investigations revealed the victims had been abducted by armed bandits from Unguwan Lado in Kankara local government area on the 22nd June 2026. The statement said the victims made their escape from their abductors before they were found by soldiers during a routine foot patrol. The rescue is part of the ongoing military operations aimed at tackling banditry and other security threats across Katsina State and the Northwest region.
This broadcast of Newscope comes to you from the Broadcasting Corporation of Oyo State, Ibadan. No fewer than 37 children are reportedly still missing following an attack on Government Day Secondary School in Lasa, Askira, Huba, local government area of Borno State on Monday. Recall that terrorists attacked the school at about 9 a.m. while candidates were writing the National Examinations Council examination, killing 2 teachers and abducting an unspecified number of students. In an interview with newsmen today, parents said the state government had opened a register for families to report missing persons. A parent, Umbola Bora, whose 19-year-old daughter was abducted, said 37 names had been registered as missing. Another parent, Emmanuel Dari, whose daughter was abducted, said families had been thrown into panic since the attack. According to him, the state government has sent a delegation led by the Commissioner for Education, Lawan Walkilbe, who was in the town to assess the situation.
As insecurity continues to raise concerns across different parts of the country, Nigerians and residents I'll take that again. As insecurity continues to raise concerns across different parts of the country, Nigerians and residents have called for stronger measures to tackle the challenge, stressing that both the government and citizens have important roles to play in ensuring peace and safety. BCO's reporter Hawa Ibrahim in this report sought the views of Nigerians on how insecurity can be subdued across the country.
Insecurity remains a major concern in many parts of the country as citizens continue to express worries over rising economic hardship and its impact on society. Observers note that challenges such as unemployment, poverty, and social inequality can create conditions that contribute to criminal activities if not properly addressed. Speaking during an interview with BCOS News, the resident stated that addressing insecurity requires collective efforts from both the government and citizens.
The citizens and the masses must work together with the government. And the government as well, they need to have mercy on the entire citizens of Nigeria. So my best thinking and my best knowledge is about our leaders. They need to be very, very calm, because it has been in my thinking for a long time that the way the government and their families, the way they oppress the masses, that's what most reason for the insecurity in the nation. Because everybody wants to be rich, everybody wants to be comfort, so everybody wants to live a good life.
Residents also called for tighter security measures through increased grassroots participation, community policy, and self-defense initiatives aimed at strengthening local security structures.
It's our government that can help us to subdue the insecurity in Nigeria by maybe employing the civil security, or I should put it, maybe some local government security or some security that will be very close to the people, that they can help us within investigation about people going around when there are people they don't know they are. They should do the normal investigation on the people so that it will reduce the insecurity.
They emphasize that effective leadership, improved welfare policies, and active community involvement remain essential in addressing security and ensuring lasting peace across the nation. Awal Ibrahim, BCOS News.
The incorporation of students in teachers' social media content is growing in popularity, with many classroom videos garnering thousands to millions of online views. Some perceive it as an inventive way to exhibit learning, yet others have expressed significant concerns about privacy and informed consent. Our reporter Fedora Folaboye spoke with school owners and parents to hear the views on the growing trend.
Classroom teachers are turning everyday moments into engaging online content, creating videos that not only entertain, but also promote schools and profoundly impact students' lives. At the same time, the trend has triggered diverse viewpoints among parents, educators, and members of the public. Some individuals are of the view that showcasing students in online content provides opportunities and highlights their talents, whereas others countered that minors should not be involved in content creation without explicit consent and adequate consideration for their privacy. As social media increasingly impacts the educational landscape, the controversy surrounding educators leveraging students for content generation persists, with disparate perspectives on appropriateness and liability. In an interview with BCOS News, a school proprietress, Dr. Victoria Akintoye, said teachers should exercise caution when using students for social media content and carefully consider the long-term implications. She emphasized the disapproval for engaging toddlers and preteens in content creation, pointing out that this age group often cannot fully understand the repercussions of their images and videos being shared on the internet.
Let's consider the age of the young ones, because in a decent society, there is a level to collaborate with the young ones, because for their age, they don't know the implication, except the adults who reason along with them. So, and I think as adults, that we hold the young ones that responsibility. They may want to go where they want to go, but we can also tutor their routes to make sure we protect their future and their image. Because one thing about image is if it's out, we can't retrieve, and we have to be careful in this age of social media.
Dr. Victoria also stressed the importance of informing parents about the potential reach of any content featuring their children, so they can make informed decisions before giving consent, as this would help prevent parents from being caught unaware if such content goes viral.
For anyone that will use young ones to create content, they must let the parents know the extent this thing could go. so that and there must be contracts. They must sign contracts that I'm doing this. It can go to any level. The picture could go here, could be fixed, put as billboard, and so on. So if a parent consented to that, then that person is covered.
Some parents also share their views on the issue, explaining the reasons they would either allow or decline their children's participation in their teachers' social media content.
If it is today's social media that everybody is using, so they were using their children in a bad way that is not normal. But if it is in this education, on the line of education, I mean, it's okay.
It's a kind of, I believe that it's a kind of method of teaching to that children, to that teacher, sorry. It's a method of teaching to that teacher because it's one of the apparatus they use in inculcating knowledge into those children. So it makes them learn fast, even more than just using mouth. So when you put a child into a practical aspect of learning, they learn faster. So by allowing them for content is an aspect of practical teaching.
As teachers continue to embrace social media content creation, transparency and respect for children's rights should remain a priority. Fidora Afolagwe, BCOS News.
At least 13 people have died in Ghana's capital, Accra, after torrential rain resulted in severe flooding, according to the fire service, which has been involved in rescue efforts. The government has urged people to stay indoors or move to higher ground, as the meteorological agency warned further rain was expected with a big storm approaching from the east. Much of the water from Sunday night's downpour has begun to recede, but as the recovery operation continues, the Ghana National Fire Service said the death toll could rise. Low-lying areas were particularly impacted. Videos circulating on social media show homes and vehicles submerged, while many buildings have been destroyed. Emergency response teams have been deployed to the flood-affected region, including from the police, fire service, the military and the National Disaster Management Organization. The Interior Ministry said they had been deployed to monitor the situation and to safeguard lives and property.
To end this edition of Newscope, here again are the main points. President Tinubu has approved 27 road projects valued at over 3.9 trillion naira across 15 states as part of the federal government's drive to improve road infrastructure nationwide.
The federal government has said it will engage the South African government to seek compensation for Nigerians who were forced to abandon businesses and other valuable properties as they return home following renewed anti-immigration tensions in the country.
The Odua Investment Company Limited, owned by the 6 southwest states, have witnessed another change of face in its leadership structure.
And at least 13 people have died in Ghana's capital, Accra, after torrential rain resulted in severe flooding, according to the fire service, which has been involved in rescue efforts. The government has urged people to stay indoors or move to higher ground, as the meteorological agency warned further rain was expected with a big storm approaching from the east.
If you see something suspicious, alert the authorities immediately for timely response. Be vigilant. And that's all from Newscope Desks. For now, it was packaged by Kendi Adeyemi and delivered by
Jamila Elegbede. Good evening.
And Adituke Olaleye. Thank you for listening, and do not forget to tune in for the Yoruba version at 8 p.m.
From the city of Ibadan, the home of ancient warlords, in the Pacesetter state, this is Oluyole FM 98.5 Ibadan.
Yemaja Matunde lọ́dún ni o, ekuru rẹ̀ rè o, obì rẹ̀ rè o, ègbò rẹ̀ rèé o májì àtúnríjà omíyalé mọ́ o.
Yemọja nìkan ká bẹ ẹjẹ́ abẹ́ra wa bàbá ti dalẹ̀ sójú àgbàrá mọ́ omi ò ní yalé wa.
Akéde òtítọ́, akéde ìyè, akéde ìbáwí, akéde ìkìlọ̀, akéde ìṣúná, akéde òwò, akéde àṣà, akéde ìròyìn, akéde ètò, akéde Ìbàdàn, àwọn akéde nítàwá.
Ó pè ọ́ kó kéde ọjà rẹ nílé akéde Olúyọ̀lé FM 98.5 kíkéde ọjà rẹ kó lè kún níbàárà rẹ la.
Ẹ fura o.
Ẹ fura o.
Ìfura lóògùn àgbà.
Ẹ fura o.
Pánsó òfura.
Pásádánà.
Àjò òfura.
Àjájìn.
Bólé náà bá fura.
Olè ní òkò náà.
Bẹ́ẹ̀ bá fẹ́ sùn lálẹ́.
Ẹ̀tàn náà ilé po. Tó tilẹ̀kùn gbáyìngbáyìn.
Ẹ tọ́jú dúkìá o ká mọ́ bá ara wa lólè lọ́wọ́.
Ẹ tọ́jú dúkìá ká mọ́ bá ara wa lólè lọ́wọ́.
5 days after.
Èwo làwọn tó ń lọ tó ń bọ̀ ládùúgbò wa yìí.
Ké ni wo kò kàn mí ilé tiwa ní géètì n tó bá wù ó ṣẹlẹ̀ wàhálà tàdúgbò yín ni o ẹjọ́ mọ́ ọ̀ràn.
Ìwà kò kàn mí ò dáa ó lè kẹ́ni tá a mọ̀ lọ́la.
ohun tó bá kan ládùúgbò rẹ gbogbo wa lọ́jọ́ kan ilé akéde ló sọ wípé ààbò ara ẹni làbò òlú.
wọ̀kùwọ̀kù lọ́rọ̀ọ̀rùn pẹ̀sẹ̀ láti kéde nílé akéde tọ̀yọ́ ni ó nílò kó ṣe mọ́ dára rẹ̀ láàmú sọ pé òun wọkọ̀ bọ̀ wá sílé akéde lórí ìtabasọ̀nù ìlú Ìbàdàn mọ́ pàápàá jùlọ